Hello, today we're going to be talking about AspxFormsGen MVC5 Professional Plus software. This is a quick tutorial on how to use this software and generate code. The AspxFormsGen MVC5 Pro Plus software looks at your uh, Microsoft SQL database and generates code off of that. So first let's look at a SQL, Microsoft SQL database called Northwind here. And look at the tables listed in it. Now, our software will generate code based off of these tables and stored procedures. So I'm going to refresh the stored procedures here to show you guys that there's nothing in here. And we'll go ahead and start generating code using MVC5 Pro Plus. First, we will enter in database information such as your server, which we recommend you use a local server, your local Microsoft SQL. Um, so you could name it either localhost or just whatever you named your local SQL Server instance. The database name, which is Northwind right there. Username, I created a username called demo, which has admin rights on my SQL Server database, and also a password. My password is also called demo. And you see me clicking this show password checkbox here. What it does is, if that is checked, it will remember the password to this database. And so every single time, the next time you open up this application, it'll pre-fill all these fields that you filled up. So we're telling this software to use stored procedures, and the stored procedures will have no prefix. I'll explain that on the next tutorial. For now, let's go on to the code settings. In the code settings, we're telling it to generate code for all the tables. And so we can create the name for our web application. I will call it Northwind MVC5. And also supply a namespace. The namespace here is only very useful when you uh, separate your business logic, your business objects, and your database objects, your data layer, into another project, such as a class library project. And for now, we'll just name it the same. So you can browse onto the directory where you want your project to be generated. And I already chose my directory in the Visual Studio 2013 projects directory. You could also choose in two languages, a C# or VB.NET, so I chose C#. And that's it. On the UI settings, everything's chosen. These are the views, the MVC views that are generated, the types. This one right here, this type will have a view that has a list, and on the list you have a link where you could add on a new record, update a new record. Some of the lists also have record details for fields that has foreign keys or related fields. And I'll show you some of these as I show you the generated code. So that's really all to it. Fill up the database settings, code settings, and click the generate code for all tables. This should take about a few minutes. Um, right now it's loading code for the tables, and it just generated all the files for it. It's telling you where it generated it in this directory here. Now we can close this or not. I'll close it and open up the directory where it generated the code. I can double click on the solution file, open that up in Visual Studio. Now you can open this in Visual Studio 2013 or 2015. I'm going to build this. The first time you build a project that you generated, you'll get all the um, NuGet packages. And I'll run it in Microsoft Edge. It'll go to the home page. Here it shows you that it generated the views, the models, the view models, and the controllers. And here on the left side, it shows you that it generated these types of views, the views that were checked earlier. The list with add, edit, redirect. This add new record views. And let me show you one of each of these views. I'm going to click on this view right here for the products. This is the one that redirects. So I can add a new product. It redirects me to that new page for adding. It generates validation code also on the client side. Just type that on. Let's click test again. It also pulls the related fields. So here, because supplier ID here is a foreign key on the products table, it knows to pull the related data. Same thing with the category ID. It also knows to validate numbers. So I can just do this, click add. In the grid, there are a few features on the grid. You could sort them by clicking on the header. So here, when you sort them, you see the little arrow pointing down. So this sorts descending in descending order by products ID. You'll see that's a field that we just created. You could edit that, make that 11, and right there again. You could go to the next 10 items. Here is saying we'll only get 10 items at a time. You get 20 items if you want, or 5. Yeah, we could go back to the very end of the list and delete that. Let's go back to the home page. Right when I clicked this, there was an add record link. It went through this view and the update record views. Next up, I'll show you the products list that's read only. Here you don't have an icon for editing or deleting or adding. So this is just a read only list. And the read only list, you also see that the supplier ID and the category ID, which are foreign keys on this table, on the products table, are clickable. If you click 2, it'll go to the record details. Go back, you get 6 on the category ID, it goes to that detail. Let's go back to the home page again. You also have a view with a list where you could add products on the same page, so this won't redirect you to another page, or just edit on the same page. You also have a list with groupings. Now this is only generated for tables that has foreign keys. So for the products table, you have 2 foreign keys, the supplier ID and the category ID. So let me click on one of them so you can see the generated grid here. See, here you can see that there are three products for this supplier, Heli Subwarn. You also have views with totals. These are um, views that are generated for tables that has decimals in it. So the decimal fields are totaled towards the end of each on the footer. Go back. There's also views with totals and groupings. So here you can see the totals right under each group. You also have views where you can search. So go into the product, I can say look for anything that has an AE. Oops, nothing that has an AE. How about EE? There you go. And say just the ones that are false. And let's go back to the list again. You also have list generated for a list where you can scroll rather than clicking the next. You can just, if you know that you have only a few products, you can just scroll in it and it'll just load that whatever you see on the screen right there at a time as you load. You also have a list where you could do inline CRUD, create, delete, update. So when you click add new record here, new test inline 100 supplier ID. And you can see that was just added there. You can also just edit this inline. You also have lists that are manually coded. So every single list that I showed you earlier uses the JQ Grid um, plugin. It is a JavaScript jQuery plugin that shows you the grid. This one, we actually built the grid manually using the for each loop. You also have one that has a master detail grid. Again, these grids are generated only for tables that has foreign keys, such as the supplier here. So as you can see, when I click supplier 1, it only shows me all the products for that supplier. Supplier 2. So here it shows me the supplier on top, your master, and the products in the bottom. So all the suppliers. You also have one that is subgrid. So the grid is right in the bottom of the parent grid. And of course the unbound views. The unbound views are not bound to the database. So this doesn't pull any data from the database because it's not bound to the database. But it also has validation. These are for the people that would like to code their middle tier, the data tier, and the stored procedures. This is also included in our express line of products. And that's it. Let me go ahead and close this. Let's review the generated uh, web application. Here you will see that it's just a regular MVC5, ASP.NET MVC5 web project. No magic into here. It generated the controllers, the models, the view models, and the views. First, let me show you the views that we just looked at. Under products, you will see that we have the add view. It uses the shared add edit product partial view. As you can see here, everything's just plain HTML using tag helpers. You have the details view. Again, just plain HTML with tag helpers. Your list CRUD, it is the list that you could edit and update and add new products on the same page. You can see here this one is using a JQ grid, which is a jQuery plugin. And let's move over onto the generated models. See, the classes here are pretty much all the same in structure. Most classes generated have a base class and a parent class. So if I click here, when I look at the products, you'll see the fields in the products table. And you can see each one of the fields are decorated with a display. Each one of them are decorated with a display. So it knows what to display on the web page. It also decorated with validation, like a string length for the product name. You cannot go over 40. It tells it if it's required. So you'll see right on your view or web page that is required. That's the it's telling it that this product name is required. Now it also has the parent parent model, which inherits from the products model base. So that's the base, that's your parent. Let me close these other ones here. So the reason we did that, so the reason we have a parent and base model is so that you could add your own code right on the parent model class. Right on the parent classes, we don't overwrite them. So let's say you want to add. Let me go ahead and stop the project. Let's say you want to add a new field that's not here on the products. So you just want to call it prop int size, or let height. You could also see anything you add on the parent class is not generated over. It's not written over by our generator when it regenerates for this project. Moving on to the controllers, it also got a controller base class and a parent class. I'll open up one of the most of the code that we generate are going to be on the base classes. So you'll see here that collapse. Each one of the view has an action. For the list CRUD, there's your action right there. The list CRUD redirect is right there. The update is there. The add is there. On the add, you have both the get and the post, and etc. But it's also got a parent class where you could add uh, another controller if it's not already here. Now, moving over to the view models, this one is also structured such as it's got a base view model. It's a base class. Let's do this. And it's also got a parent class that inherits over the base class. Again, you could add view models that's not already generated by our product in here, and this will not be overwritten. And then moving on to the views, let's go to our products. I think I just showed the views earlier. So moving over to the infrastructure, which is the generated business objects and data layer, and also the example classes. So let me show you the business object here for the products. This is the base class. You can see here that there's a lot of methods here on the business object base class, and you also have the business object here, which is pretty much blank, just like the rest of the parent classes. Now, you might want to remember that on the business class, the ASPxFormsGen MVC 5 generator generated a 3-tier application, which is pretty much your views, which is your UI, your front layer. Your business objects is your middle layer, and your data layer is your data layer and your stored procedures. Looking at the data layer base, you'll see code that accesses your database. Again, it's in the same way as every other class. This one has a base class, which pretty much has all the access to your database. And if you don't already have the ones that you need, you can always add it on the parent class. Right there. So looking at the generated stored procedures, earlier we saw that there's none here. And let me go ahead and refresh that. Now you see that there's a lot of generated stored procedures. Let me just show you one that's being used by the search for the products that I showed you earlier. So that would be this. So this is one of the stored procedures that was generated. And I think that's it for this tutorial. Bye bye.